So I was actually introduced to Jocko Willink by my son Tyler, who found him on YouTube. So I started watching his YouTube channel called the Jocko Podcast.
This is Jocko Podcast number 125 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Echo.
Good evening.
And I've always admired people who served on the Navy SEAL teams for their dedication and devotion to service and determination. And as I was listening to his podcast, he seemed to have a good grasp of leadership principles, emotional intelligence, and understanding organizations and how to manage people in a way that resonated with me. We have an ophthalmology, medical and surgical practice, and it seemed that the lessons that he was imparting during his podcast, I could take those lessons and apply them to helping to motivate and incentivize and create a better organization of people in our own business. So then coincidentally, I met Leif Babin a little less than a year ago, and as we were talking, he mentioned the company that he and Jocko operate called Echelon Front. Evidently, Echelon Front, which is run by Leif and Jocko, who've co-authored several books that we've read, they help to provide leadership training for corporations and businesses across the country. So after meeting Leif and then listening to the Jocko podcast, I became aware of Echelon Front, and then I became aware of the muster. So I went online and looked at the muster, and I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity for our company to learn some leadership principles. And so we're going to bring 6 of our key leadership team to the muster in Denver in September. And we don't exactly know what to expect, but we're hopeful that the lessons we can learn from Jocko and Leif and the Echelon Front team, we can bring back to our business here in Austin, Texas, and make our business better, help our people become more productive and more motivated and inspired to work, to create a better culture overall in our business, such that everybody feels more fulfilled working here, and we develop systems to just make the business better. So our staff is happier, more productive, more engaged, and understands the why behind what they do. So initially I thought, hey, I'd like to go to the muster. But then the thought occurred to me, if I go, I'll have to explain and get buy-in from our leadership team on what I learned. So I thought, maybe it's better if I bring our entire leadership team with me to the musters, so we can all learn together and get buy-in on these principles of extreme ownership and the dichotomy of leadership, and all these leadership principles that I think will help make our leadership team better in business, and perhaps more importantly, it'll make them better in managing their personal relationships outside of business in the real world for the rest of their lives. So we're hopeful that we'll learn a lot, and we're looking forward to it. So we're standing by to get some.
So far from what I gather from the muster, it's a leadership seminar, and it's kind of focused around this theme of extreme ownership. And that, from what I can gather, is basically, as a leader, you own a situation, not just the problem, but the solution and the team that's involved with the implementation of your solution. What do I hope to gain from it? One, different tactics for helping other people on my team kind of take that mindset on, because I feel like that's a tough one to get someone to take on their own. But also just to, in general, just improve my management techniques through learning just a little bit more in depth what that extreme ownership really entails.
The only thing I know about it is that you're really into it and that we listen to these podcasts that Jocko puts out like once a week, right? Yeah. We listen to it in the car. And if it's important to you, I'm going to go along with it. But, I mean, the Army, the military, it's not really something I'm familiar with. And whenever I travel in the car with my husband, we listen to these podcasts from Jocko, and he really enjoys learning from them, and I know the muster is something that they put out. So I know it's important to my husband, and so I'm going to support him, basically. I hope to gain, in this 2-day event, leadership qualities that I can carry forward, and maybe even great parenting qualities.
Well, I know muster is extreme ownership, so I know that it's Jocko and a few of his fellow military leaders, and that they've taken on this leadership conference to teach us how to manage in business. All right. Well, I hope to learn how to maximize morale, the best way to lead teams made up primarily of women.
What I know about the muster is that it's a leadership conference for people of a lot of different companies and backgrounds, not just tailored to healthcare or finance, but it's for really anyone in a leadership position kind of wanting to improve their skill set. I hope to learn from attending the muster just some specific ways or tactics that I can help employees with this ownership concept, and kind of like showing them the mirror, kind of helping them self-reflect, because I feel like I do that and all of our leaders here at Austin I are really good at doing that. But how do you get just a regular employee who's not in a leadership or management position to take ownership? What tactics do you do? That's what I want to know.
So what I know about the muster, it's a leadership conference hosted by a few ex-Navy SEALs, right? Yeah. So it's really all I know about it. And then what I hope to gain? I hope to gain a lot of skills. Skills that I can use not only in the workplace, but I can use in other portions of life. That's my big thing. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
I guess just stepping out of your comfort zone for everyone is going to be, I think, an underlying theme for some of us. It's not exactly a normal type of learning experience for us. It's military based almost in nature. So it's going to be a different level of intensity of leadership training for us.
I don't really have any reservations about the muster, but it is an unknown. So to the extent that it'll be different, that can always be a challenge. So, but I'm up for it.
My reservations are that it does appear that it's mostly male dominated and that there are only going to be a few women there.
My only reservation is, well, one, the workout. I don't, but other than that, I just want to make sure it's not so like authoritarian or military type, and that they have like tactics for people who are more emotional or amiable as well. Since I know the leaders of it are military and Navy SEAL background, I just want to make sure it's going to be something that's applicable for all of our people, not just those type A's.
My concerns are, which I have voiced, I want to participate in PT. I will be very cranky if I puke before 7 a.m., so there's that. Secondly, reservations. I know it's military kind of designed. I don't want it to feel almost alienated in some fashion. Like, I hope it's relatable in that I don't feel like, well, do I belong here? You know, because I got the itinerary and it was like all military time. Food is listed in proteins. I'm like, come on, man. But so I'm curious to see how they make it more relatable to just general population.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Denver. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and your carry-on stowed.
What group are you? So we're gonna take a good picture.
So it's about 4:45 and everybody's assembled out here. We're about to start our workout.
Come on, guys, let's go. Start in 30 seconds. Up the stairs.
So there are 7 stations. Each station is 90 seconds of workout. There's a 1-minute break in between, and you rotate through this 2 times. 14 total stations. 90 seconds each, 1-minute break in between.
Come on now, keep moving. 10 seconds, finish it.
Fall down and get back up again, just like Mike. Fall down. Start doing higher, go harder.
So we're about to get started. There are 949 registered participants here. 949 attendees.
I wanted to be a combat leader. And the first time I found myself in urban combat, it was overwhelming. The battlefield is a complex place. Things are going to go wrong. You're going to be attacked from multiple directions at the same time. Nobody else is coming to make the calls. It can be very overwhelming for a team, and there's only one thing that is going to get that team through that situation. Of all the things that we learned in the Battle of Ramadi, is that leadership is the most important thing on the battlefield. We realized these lessons didn't only apply to the battlefield, they applied to business and they apply to life. And that's our purpose now, to pass these lessons on, to teach leaders how to win. As we've grown the team, Echelon Front has become about more than just me and Jocko. We have an exceptional group of leadership instructors that we serve alongside in combat, who bring their own perspectives and their own experiences. Filled out the survey. So you're from across the United States, countries around the world, and some people have come a long way to be here. 46 different states, countries, representing Canada, Germany, Mexico, the Netherlands, Spain. I know there's at least more folks from Switzerland and other countries as well, but we don't have represented up there. But you've come from a long way to be. He's got a big ego. What's if he's going to blow up? He's going to be mad about it. Instead, I say, hey, Leif, you got a lot of experience with this stuff. I was kind of trying to figure out why you're making this, why you want to go in this direction. Oh, okay, well, what did I just do? What's his attitude? He actually is like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. And obviously, Jocko needs some guidance here. So what he does is, instead of that barrier building up, guess what it just did? It went down. It didn't go down all the way. It went down a little bit. But it was enough for us to start having a conversation. And I'm not going to eliminate his ego in one conversation. I may never eliminate his ego. I may never eliminate that wall. But what I will do is I'll get inside it. Because what I want is for him to listen to me. Some people have giant egos, it's going to take a lifetime to get rid of them. But if I can at least get him to pay attention to what I'm saying, if I can at least get him to listen, I can guide him, give him some influence, that's where I can start to make progress. It's a long war, but you can win it. Thank you. So, this is it's a pretty cool question. I give short answers too. I give short answers all the time. I give short answers to people that I know. If you're emailing me for the first time and I'm going to respond to you, it's not going to be like, sounds good, execute. No, it's going to be like, hey, I really appreciate the time that you put in this. The way this came out looks really solid. I didn't even know that those things were going on, and I see you've already put this together. Thanks for doing it, and I think it's a good time to go ahead and execute. It's a feel-good email, right? It's a feel-good email. Once you know me and I know you, look, you're not even getting your name on the thing. Nope. But I have to, once again, I have to establish a relationship with you. So if I don't know you, you're going to get a much nicer email. Once we know each other, we're good. Now, there's some people in the world that you can never send them a short email. They will be offended and hate you. So you got to take, it's going to take 12 minutes to write this instead of 4. Cool. The other thing is, just because email is used a lot doesn't mean that you can't pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, I just sent an email. I know it's kind of short, but I just wanted to let you know if you had any questions, hit me up. They all work. Use them together.
The danger of email, too, is when you send someone a 3-page email, in the 10th paragraph, on page 2, you're like, oh, they had the information there. Well, they probably get 200 emails a day. They have the same thing in the military, same thing for us anywhere. So you've got to really, that phone call is super important to follow up on the things that matter. A text message, whatever it is. Email's great, a great medium to send things and transfer spreadsheets and data and all those things, but don't fall into the illusion that communication happened just because you sent an email to somebody. Doesn't mean they read it, doesn't mean they process it, doesn't mean they interpret it the way that you want them to.
Oh, we want to roll out the attitude of extreme ownership. You want to know how you do that? You start taking ownership. That's what you do. It's that explanation that I gave earlier. When that task unit commander that's a good leader says, hey, this was my fault, this is what I'm going to do to fix it, the team doesn't then point their fingers and say that was your fault. That's not what happens. When you start taking ownership, people on your team will take ownership.
So we just finished up the first day of the muster, and it was an all-day event. It started at 8 after our PT, which began at 4:45. What I found most useful during the day was the question and answer period where they had microphones set up in the auditorium, and they allowed members of the audience to come up and ask any question that they had, and they would answer those questions directly to the individual. And everybody in the audience found the question and the answer to those questions extremely useful. Day one so far has been a success because I can tell the staff understands what they're teaching here at the muster, and they accept and seem to be embracing most of the principles that they're being taught. What I'm finding is that most of the themes that they shared during the muster have actually been shared on Jocko's podcast. Now my leadership team can embrace and understand and kind of process these lessons, and then I can tell the leadership team is getting buy-in on these principles, and now we can go back to our business and share these principles with the rest of our team. Hopefully that'll create a better culture and make us more productive, more effective, and improve the performance overall of our business. So we'll talk to you tomorrow and explain what happens on day 2. Thanks. This is Echo Charles. He produces all the videos on Jocko's YouTube channel, the Jocko Podcast. His work is exceptional, and I just want to give him credit for the brilliant work that he does. Thank you, Echo.
Well, the first thing we have to look at is, where do your worst case scenarios come from in your business, in your world? I actually know where they come from as a leader. Where they come from, the answer is your people. Yeah, your people. That's right. Whether you're in construction, or you're in healthcare, or you're a firefighter, or you're in finance, it doesn't matter. And you can set up procedures and contingency plans, and you can train for those for whatever specific to the industry that you work in. But let me tell you, as a leader, the problems you're going to have, they're going to come from these crazy human beings that you work with. Because people are crazy, and you're all included in that. We have to get used to dealing with the worst case scenario with people. So, how do you do that? How do you do that? Well, the answer is you train for it. How do you train for it? You train for it the same way we train for it in the military.
What I'm worried about is if our numbers go down. If our numbers go down, what happens? Are we stuck using method B? I want to be able to switch back to method A.
Actually, if your numbers go down, that's proof that method A is better. Right? I'd be able to run up the chain of command. Of course, they want the best numbers possible. If that happens, we'll be right back where we started. We'll go back to method A and move forward. Well, I mean, but we have to give it an earnest job, you know? What do you think? Like 3 months, you make an effort, see if we can make it happen, and then give feedback up the chain?
If we can switch back and it doesn't work,
Awesome, cool. All right, I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing how it works out. And thanks for everything that you're doing down here. I'll catch you later. All right, so, you see what I did, Leif, is, look, Arnold's a hard-headed guy. If you go in there and you start barking down his throat, he's gonna get defensive, and he's not gonna wanna do it. So, give his ego a little boost. Make him feel good about it. Make him feel like he's got some control, which he actually does. Because I'm telling you right now.
Say again what you said.
I think Jocko's so good.
Why is he so good?
Because he can communicate the point. And he makes good sense. He says being humble is important as a leader. He says you can't yell as a leader because you've already shown your weakness right there. Because how many mistakes have you made if you have to yell at your people? That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Okay, so how's it going?
So far, so good.
What are you learning?
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, I get the military background and the stories that go behind it, but all the principles are pretty universal. I think we're already implementing a lot of these things. Cover and move, for example. Techs taking over for the doctor, explaining surgery so the doctor can move on to the next patient. I didn't know how to explain it when we were talking about the surgical counselor position, but it's a cover and move tactic. We're covering for the tech so they can move on to the next patient in the queue. But I think not just professionally, but personally, I'll get a lot out of this. Detach, extreme ownership. I think you're going to get a lot of buy-in from this group on that.
Okay, so the last thing I learned was that yelling is not beneficial for anyone.
Right.
And although I don't yell at work, I yell at home. And so I'm going to personally work on that in my own life. And I think just listening to the role play is helpful for a lot of the how to communicate with some of the employees about things that maybe we need to work on or improve upon. And with being able to say it and talk with them about it in a way that it's not confrontational.
0 to 10, what do you give it?
It was a 10.
Sierra, what would you give it 0 to 10?
A 10.
Why?
It's a new perspective. I've been to other leadership conferences that were more healthcare driven, and this was nice to get something from a different field. I give it a 10. I love Jocko. He's great. He's awesome.
10.
Why?
Oh, because the guy has the utmost highest level of experience. And the fact that he can take the time to relate it to a bunch of Joe Schmoes, it's pretty cool.
Dan, 0 to 10, what do you give it?
I'll give it a 10. I mean, all those guys are experienced, and they have really good not just life lessons, but they're taking those life lessons and applying it to universally to other businesses all across the U.S. and outside the U.S. It's pretty powerful.
applicability to what we do?
Very much so. Jocko and Leif and the entire team, you exceeded our expectations. Not because because my goal was that my team bought into what you're trying to convey. And obviously it worked. Great job, and we're going to apply this in our business.
But you failed.
And what did you learn today?
I love Jocko. I love Leif. I love the whole team. I have the utmost respect for them. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you're doing for your community and everybody. Great job. Keep it up.
Yay.
Get some.
Get some. I learned more than I thought I would. I think we have a lot of ways in which we can implement some of these concepts at our practice and in our leadership teams. I personally want to work on building relationships with people, and Amy and I kind of talked, but building that relationship of us so that we can kind of understand each other's roles. So I'm excited. I think we'll bring a lot of changes. So.
Well, I learned it's intense, when you're trying to stay engaged. I learned a lot. And I was hoping to come in as learning not only things for work, but for life. I mean, this kind of stuff is gold. I mean, it seems really so kind of apparent, but really until someone gives you, just lays it all out, you're like, it's really not that hard to, take these things to heart. And coming from people like that that have the biggest responsibility in the world, I think is even more important that it comes from them. And I think I am pleasantly proved wrong, because I think when my initial one was I didn't want to feel alienated. I didn't know how relatable it was going to be. And it was more relatable than I ever could have expected. So I think that was the best part of all. And I like Jocko a little bit more now. So there's that. A lot
Hey
more.
guys, thanks a lot.
Thank y'all both.
We're
very
gonna make a
much.
little video, you guys. We'll post it on YouTube.